Price was born here in St. Louis May 27, 1911, so this past May we had the Vincentennial. But we had an exhibit that ran from April through August, and then we had a 10-day long film festival in May, and we had a play in the middle of May, and we had a couple of publications. So the festival's over now, but it was a big success.
What would you say Vincent Price is most famous for in terms of his vehicles?
He's most famous for his horror films. I would say, if I had to narrow that down, the series of Edgar Allan Poe adaptations directed by Roger Corman. Roger Corman was one of our guests of honor at Vincentennial. The most famous, perhaps The Raven. My favorite is The Pit and the Pendulum, because I think that's the scariest. He made 8 films with Corman. Almost all of those were adaptations of Edgar Allan Poe poems. He worked with Sam Fuller early in his career in a movie called Baron of Arizona. Lindsay Anderson directed The Whales of August much later in Price's career. Tim Burton, of course, directed Edward Scissorhands. But as far as his horror films go, his favorite was The Theater of Blood. That was a hammy role. That's where he met his third wife on the set of that film. It was just a role for him to really sink his teeth into, where he played like this Shakespearean actor who, so he got to play all these other roles within that role. I know that was his favorite. I curated an exhibit at the Sheldon Art Galleries that went up in April through August, and it was called Vincentennial, The Legacy of Vincent Price. We had a whole lot of artifacts, memorabilia from the life and career of Vincent Price. We had things like his baby book and his baby shoes, and things from his father's candy company. His father was president of the National Candy Company. We had tins from the candy company, receipts. But all these things were lent to me by various collectors across the country, so I've returned almost all these items. I did have a few things. Here's a photo. This isn't an original photo, but here's Vincent Price when he was about 7 with his older brother Mortimer. He was the youngest of 4 kids. Here is Vincent Price's senior portrait. This Vincent Price was Country Day class of 1929. He lived over on Forsyth near Wash U. At that time, Country Day, now it's in Ladue, but at that time it's where the airport is. So he would have to take an electric trolley car every morning from his home in St. Louis out to North County, which took about 2 hours. Electric trolleys had the little posts, and they ran along an electric wire, so it took forever, and they had to pick up all the other kids at the school. Like I said, most of the stuff that was in the exhibit belonged to other collectors. Everybody wanted to get involved because they recognized that here's this iconic actor from our city. No other actor from our city is as famous as him, really. And so I think he's always going to be popular in St. Louis. But time will tell whether his cult ascends or not.